Welcome back to Inside the Lines, everyone. Hope you had a good Monday. This will be a little bit of a different episode. We're going to hit some futures for the MLB with no one better to do it than Jake here. We got totals, we got divisions, we got all kinds of things. We got what else we have? Awards. We got it all. All of your questions as well. There are 4 NBA games, though. We're going to get to those as well, and a few college baseball plays before we get into the deep dive of the MLB here. So let's bring in the boys. Let's take a quick look back at the NBA slate from yesterday. Could have been better, 4-6 here, but overall, the past few days, we're still looking pretty good.
Yeah, if Dia didn't play, I'm sure that would have hit easily. But and Hart got an assist on the very first basket, but then another one for around 2.5 quarters. So a few things didn't fall my way. I wish certain stats, if you went way over, would count towards others. Like I got an excess of Clint Capella. I would like that kind of betting maybe sometime, like, combined players, points, rebounds, assists, that kind of stuff. But,
yeah, so like I know on Prize Picks you could do 2 players to score X amount of points. But yeah, if you just have like every one of your props and then you have like a total line, like these 10 players have to combine for 220 points, rebounds, and assists.
Yeah. All right. Anyway,
there is a hard
quick, Mackenzie.
Yeah. We got a lot to get through. Let's get through the NBA quick here. We got 4 games to go through, 4 props for them.
All right. So Golden State, Miami, model has a lot of value on Golden State on the road because they have positive metrics on the road. But the whole stuff about them gearing up for one more run next year and not playing the minutes needed to necessarily pull out wins scares me. So I wouldn't take that ATS pick, but there is model value on that. I'm going to go with Steph Curry. This one, all my picks have lost line value since this morning. This one was a plus 130 earlier in the morning. So again, I'm not going to overcomplicate it. I understand why the line's lower. The line's lower because his last month, his average is lower, but the over is still 6-6. But I'm not going to overthink a player who's getting plus money on a number that's well under his average. Average is 5.2 on the road. And guards who average similar number of assists, they actually average 6 assists and 8-3 at Miami versus just 4 assists and 4-6 over versus Miami at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is an ugly game for the spread and stuff, but I think it's good to check in on a prop here. We'll move over. I know we got what else do we have next? The Lakers headed to Milwaukee. No LeBron tonight, but a few plays we like.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the always scary under. Austin Reeves, maybe this just get back at him for not delivering for me. I think 2 picks in a row. Again, this was available at 6.5 at minus 150. And so I love that. 5.5, I don't love as much, but plus money. So yeah, the road splits are in your favor with a 5.2 average at 12-20 over. LeBron's not there. When LeBron's in the 9 games, LeBron is out. Reeves has increased his scoring average by over 4, but his assists average actually goes down by half assist. So to 5. So I kind of under 5. So I kind of like that fact that LeBron not being out there should be more of a Reeves offense scoring as opposed to assist thing. Milwaukee's defense is getting much better at home. For most of the year, they were pretty bad, allowing 115 for the season, so over 115. But in the last 9, they've dropped that to 103, and only 2 games have they allowed a lot of points, like 120 or over. So I'm thinking lower scoring points, fewer assists, and value on Reeves at plus money.
Yeah, I took on the site Reeves over, I think it was 17.5 points here. Again, averages 4 more points without LeBron. And he's gone over this in 6 of his last 9 games without LeBron on the court. So that was at 17.5, at 6-9, Eric. I don't know if the same applies for the 18.5. 18.5 scares me a little bit. If you can get some good value on it, maybe it's worth it. But again, without LeBron on the court, a lot more production from Reeves tonight for sure.
Yeah, I think Russell missed his last game. I assume he's playing tonight.
Well, it was wild because Reeves got 18 points in Milwaukee last game, and D'Angelo Russell had put up like 44 points. So if he can put up 18 with someone else on the court putting up 44, I feel pretty confident that he can get over this again.
I'm hoping the good defenders of Milwaukee guard Russell and not Reeves.
Exactly, which they probably will. So definitely a Reeves night for the team. We'll move on here. We'll go to OKC, headed to New Orleans. Two teams we like to bet on a lot. This is exciting for us. I know a lot of us have, or all of us have a little action on this game.
A lot of action and not a lot of success for me, I think, recently. But I'm just feeling bad for myself. I mean, I just go up and down with the daily nights. So you would think after 19, 20 years, I would have a little more even keel about that stuff. But I don't. Josh Giddey over 14.5 points and assists. The number was only minus 105 earlier this morning, so it looks like the action's on the over. I also see 15.5 a lot of paces. I have 16 points and assists projected. The line is priced based on his lower road split, but the overall season trend is a strong over. And most importantly, it's his last 10 games where he hasn't been playing many more minutes. He's still been playing around 25 minutes a game. But he's 9-1 with 5 of these games were road games, 5-0 in the road in this recent stretch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Giddey here. I accidentally played him over 9.5 points and rebounds instead of the points and assists on the site, but I actually still kind of like that play. It looks pretty green to me in the past 10 games as well. I also did play Lou Dort here over 8.5 points. I like when we can get him down to around that 8.5 number. Only had 7 points against Milwaukee, but before that has been over this in 7 of his last 8 games, getting plenty of minutes. So again, I think this is a good spot for OKC in general, considering the Pelicans just came off a pretty tough and long road trip, just getting themselves settled back at home. Maybe can catch them on their toes. So I like the spot for OKC and really any player prop in that.
Yeah, I'm surprised the number's only 8.5. I mean, I guess New Orleans is playing really good defense. A lot of unders coming in for both teams recently. So that must be why. But yeah, to see at this point of the year, a number that's 15% lower than a guy's or 20% lower than his actual average.
Mm-hmm. I think these guys just want the win and they want to be up there in the conference so SGA can be part of the MVP conversation. Like I feel like the ripple down effect of that is kind of affecting everyone here. I see some questions about some turnovers here. Zion turnovers or Josh Giddey turnovers. Zion's at 2.5.
We have 4.5. Oh yeah, we have a turnover because without we do expect the ball in his hand more without Brandon Ingram. Yeah, he's really hot offensively, but and he hasn't been turning over recently, so he's due for a big game.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on here because
we have 2.2 turnovers for Giddey. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, that's good. Over 1.5 is the line. We'll head over to Dallas going to Sacramento here now.
Model has value on Dallas to upset Sacramento, which I kind of agree with just on the season trends of Sacramento. They shut down Philly last night, and I lost the Philly team total, but that Philly doesn't count. They stink. It's interesting. Both teams played last night, and sorry, Mackenzie. The Dallas has been much better against the spread with no rest, 8-3, and Sacramento's 4-8, and the spread's 1, so that's why I was going with the money line. I'm going to go with Keon Ellis, who I've gotten to know over 2 weeks. Didn't know who he was before then. And I don't think the Sacramento Kings did either because he barely played. But Kevin Huerter's out the season. Since he's been getting his 24 or 25 minutes, the over is 8-2. He averages nearly 0.8 blocks a game. His defensive rating is much better. He's there to play defense. So his 48-minute rate is a 1.7 block, 2.1 steals, 5.5 personal fouls, and just 13.5 points. So this is an undrafted free agent. A guy who went to JUCO, was a SEC defense, second team all defense. So he's always been about defense and hustle. Perimeter oriented Mavs, a lot of shots from the guards and wings. So and I'm thinking Ellis will get another block because he's been on a really red hot streak getting blocks. Let's see, 8-2 heading into the game. He had a 5-block game against Memphis.
Steven, what do we have Lou Dort steals at?
I'm sure something.
Because he averages about 1 per game. He hasn't had 1 in 4 games.
We're at 0.86, so it's the number.
It's half a steal at around minus 125. So
that's we probably put it at minus 140, minus 150.
Yeah, because look at it.
These numbers are off. Just so you know,
those numbers, because in the official
these are the steals. Yeah.
So
no,
it has
the headers are off, I should say.
Yeah, he's gone 4 games without a steal, but before that he had like 6 or 7 straight games with a steal. Yeah. So I think he's very much due. So our gym has that as good value. We have that as good value, so that could be a good play.
I like that.
All right. Anything Dort positive, I'm in. Keep him on the court for me.
We'll hope it's a breakaway steal. Pass plays line for easy. We'll pull up 3.
Pull up 3. Steal pull up 3.
For
Perfect.
his 9th point.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. I'm going to kick you out, Steven. I
Thank
think
you.
there's some few more NBA questions. I saw someone asking about
Sure.
Luka triple-double if you want to get to that. Jake, take a deep breath. We got a lot to get through. Everyone get your pen and paper because this is not for the week here. We're going to let's start with win totals, actually. Start with some win totals here. I saw the chat talking about some win totals earlier. They're ready to rock here. It looks like Big Cheesy's on the Kansas City Royals with us here. We got so awkward. He's on the other side. We got the under for the Royals.
I just don't understand why the Royals. I think they'll definitely be better than last year, but I mean, I just think they went out and signed a lot of like decent pitchers, but not great pitchers. I don't think they're going to move the arrow that much. And we have them at 63. I think they're going to be in between 63 and 73, probably like around like 68 wins. But that's still way under. We have a ton of value on under. Getting them at even money on BetMGM, I think is pretty good value. I'm just not a big believer in this Royals team yet, but I think that a lot of these players that they signed this offseason, they could trade for more prospects. They're starting to build their farm a little more, but I don't think that they're ready yet. And I want to go with stacked outside of Bobby Witt. Like, yeah, Vinny P is back, but he's been hurt. I would not say that the lineup is stacked, Big Cheesy, but I mean, they should be much better.
They got to prove themselves to us a little bit before we can get behind this train. That's fair. Let's move on here. Another under we're taking is down here in South Florida. Miami Marlins under 78.5 wins. It's a pretty big number too.
Yeah, so we have them at 74.5 wins. This is interesting because it's 77.5 in most books, but you get 78.5 at Hard Rock in those 7 states that you have Hard Rock. They have so many injuries right now. Sandy Alcantara is out for the season after getting Tommy John. Yuri Perez has an elbow issue. 2 of their starters are big question marks. Max Meyer is starting the season after undergoing Tommy John. He's only pitched like 2 games in his career. And AJ Puck's moving from the bullpen to the starting lineup. And I just think that they're going to need their Pythagorean win record last year was like 10 games below their actual record. So they got a little lucky in all these 1-run games. So if the luck goes away, I think they're going to have a hard time winning above 78.5 games.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I guess you have to look back to last season, some of these lucky 1-run teams. What reminds me, now I can't think of who it was in the NFL that I feel like we're winning. I think it was like the Vikings maybe last season that were just winning games that like their record just was so much better than the actual talent on their roster. Maybe it'll come to me. All right, let's move on here. We're fading the Yankees. Is this kind of a spot where it's like the Cowboys, the Lakers, the type of America's team where it's just so inflated for no reason?
Exactly. This was at 93.5, so it has moved down to 91.5. But I'm a Yankees fan. I'm a diehard Yankees fan, but even I like the under here because the public and people love betting on the Yankees. So yeah, the sports books get away with having this at 91.5 wins, where it should be around 88 wins, 87 wins, and that's right where we have the Yankees. I think we have them at 89 wins. And especially with all these injuries, Garrett Cole is out for a while. Juan Soto should definitely help. I think they're going to be better than they were last year, which was a 500 team. But I don't know if they're 12 wins better this year. So we're taking advantage of these overinflated lines that all these people give us by loving the Yankees.
Love it. Do we have any? I don't see the Dodgers on here, but are they really inflated too, or do you think they're actually that good?
No, they're actually that good. Their line's at 103.5. I think we have them at 104.7 wins. A couple of years ago, we had them at 110 wins, which is the highest I've ever seen, and they almost hit that. So we don't have much value on the Dodgers and everything, except we love them to win the World Series, but we have them winning the World Series in like 32% of sims. But that even with it downgraded a little, but I still don't love that value there. I think you get it better later in the season if they go through a little rough period.
True. Well, we got one over here. We're going with the Rays here over their win total of 84.5.
Yeah, I think you have to go with the Rays over. No matter who they play, they win games. Even though they sell all their players, they trade everyone away. Tyler Glasnow is gone. Junior Caminero is starting the season in the minors. Half their rotations hurt, but they just win games. They win 90 games every single year for like the last 8 years, it feels like. So I like the Rays to go over 84.5 wins. We have them at 90 wins.
Mm-hmm. I see people starting to talk about the Cubs in the chat. We do have some Cubs to get to here. We're going to head over to some division winners. First, we'll look at the AL Central here. We have the Twins at even money to win their division.
Yeah, I don't love the Twins, but this is a big model pick. We have the Twins running away with AL Central.
We just separate church and state there. It's really material.
Yeah. So this is more of a fade on the other teams in the division. I mean, Derek's Guardians, they're gonna struggle a little to start because their pitching is pretty hurt right now. Besides Bieber and Tanner Bybee, Bieber and Bybee, say that 10 times fast. And their lineup, they have a lot of young guys. I think they're going to be good, but once they get these guys like DeLauder and some other players in the lineup, they'll be good in the future, but not right now. Kansas City, I'm not buying the hype. I do like Detroit as a sleeper in this division. I think Detroit at like plus 350 is pretty good value. So that would probably be my play if I wasn't looking at the model for this play. But the model loves them, and a lot big reason why is we'll go over some player props. So we love Byron Buxton when he's healthy, and we love Royce Lewis when he's healthy. And if they get a full season of those two guys, they could be really dangerous.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on. We'll go to the Cubs. We were just mentioning a lot better value here, plus 205 for them to take the NL Central.
Yeah, I love the moves that they've made. They brought back Bellinger on a much cheaper contract than he was looking for. Seiya Suzuki's been on fire in spring training, even though I don't want to look too much into spring training. Imanaga, one of their free agent signings from Japan, he's looked really good. His stuff has been pretty nasty, even though his numbers aren't great. I just think that and they have a good manager in Craig Counsell. Yeah, as Jeff said, I was just about to say that. I love that move for them. Stealing him for a division rival was big time for these Cubs. So I like them at plus 205. I know most people like St. Louis to win the division. Don't love that play, especially some of these guys are getting older. Their pitching still isn't. I don't have a ton of confidence in their pitchers. Sonny Gray's always injured. All these guys are always injured. I think the Cubs are my favorite play here just because you get them at plus 200.
I'm hoping as I passively just listen to you talk about the MLB for the next few weeks and months, by the end of the season, I'm going to be some kind of I'm not even going to realize it, but some MLB genius. I'll be able to pull out crazy names in bars. That's the plan. This is just going to naturally happen for me, I'm hoping. All right, let's move on to one more division play here. The Orioles. This is a team I know a lot about. When I interned at ESPN 2 summers ago was when the Orioles were on their crazy underdog run, which was pretty exciting to watch. So they do have a special spot in my heart.
Unlike Steven's Baltimore Ravens, where we always have model on, coincidence, I think not. We don't have model value on the Orioles, who he did grow up rooting for, but they're one of my favorite teams. I'm on all Orioles futures. I got this before Garrett Cole's injury, and this was at like plus 280. You can still get that plus 200. I still think that's value. And this is just something where the Yankees' value is overinflated due to the public, and you're getting good value on other teams in that division. I think Toronto should be pretty good this year, much better. But the Yankees and Red Sox are the big wild cards. I think the Red Sox aren't. They've sold a lot of their players. They've traded a lot of their guys. They haven't made big moves. So I think the Red Sox are just waiting for some of these young guys to get better before they make some moves. So it's not the Red Sox year. The Yankees all depends on Garrett Cole coming back from injury. And Baltimore, what we don't factor in is that they have the number one farm system. And they have guys like Jackson Holiday, Kobe Mayo, Samuel Basayo. So all these guys are so good, and they have a new owner who's willing to trade some of these guys for some of these prospects for guys like Corbin Burns. And I like Corbin Burns, and you'll see that later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's starting to tease some of these. It feels like a lot of these, which is not wrong thinking, but it's kind of like a fading of the other teams in the division. Kind of process of elimination gets ourselves here with some good positive plus money value on these guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's move over to those awards we were talking about. 2 different awards we're looking at. We'll start with the AL Rookie of the Year here. A previous Florida Gator. Are you sure there's no bias going on in this pick?
Oh, there definitely is bias. This is my girlfriend's favorite player in the world. We actually met him outside of Florida, Georgia, and I'm like, my girlfriend goes, "Is that Wyatt Langford?" I'm like, "No," because I didn't want her to go up to him. And of course, she goes, "Wyatt," and goes up and hugs him. But he is just such a fun player to watch. I think this line's a little overinflated, but some of these guys like Jackson Holiday and Junior Caminero are starting the season in the minors, and he made the opening day roster, which is big for him to start off with an advantage over some of these other players. So plus 275, I don't think is great value, but I had to go with the Gator here, and a player I really like.
Fair enough. You get a few homer picks in your day. There's a lot of picks here. It can't all be. All right, let's go to the Cy Young here. We got two different guys. Maybe you're putting half a unit on one, half a unit on the other here.
Yeah, this is more of just the AL pitchers being wide open compared to the NL, where Spencer Strider's at like plus 200 to win the Cy Young in some books, and where the AL is wide open. Luis Castillo could have won it each of the last couple of years. He's been right there for the Cy Young. I really like this Mariners team, and he should get a lot of wins this season. So I like Luis Castillo at plus 1,300 as a little sprinkle. And Corbin Burns at plus 800. I just think he should get a lot of wins on this Orioles team. I really like this Orioles team, like I've said, and I don't mind playing these two at half a unit. The one thing that scares me is Kevin Gausman, who's the favorite. I think at like plus 650 in some books, plus 850 in others. He is he's been looking pretty good. His last couple of starts, his stuff's clicking. So if he gets hurt, one of these two guys has a really good chance of winning.
Mm-hmm. And you guys made just looking at the chat, you guys made your fantasy team today, correct? Or is that later?
No, yeah, we had our fantasy draft, an AL only fantasy draft. Me and Steven had it at one, and let me tell you, if you think your fantasy football drafts drag on, that draft definitely dragged on way too long. But
yeah, that sounds like watching Coach, right?
yeah, but I mean, especially AL only. But I'm not complaining. Not complaining.
Yeah. All right. We're going to move on here. There is a recap screen with all of this at the end, just so nobody's feeling overwhelmed. Let's talk about one playoff play. We just got one here, but we like the Mariners here to make the playoffs at minus 155. This is probably the best value you're going to get.
Yeah, this is the best value according to OddsJam. I think they're at around like 80% to make the playoffs in the model. So you're getting pretty good value at minus 155. I just really like this Mariners team. They've made a couple more moves. Their rotation, I think, is the deepest in all of baseball. They have J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. They have a lot more depth this year. They made a lot more moves than they usually do. They traded Jared Kelenic, and in turn, they got more depth with like Mitch Haniger, who they brought back from San Francisco. I liked them last year to win the division and make the playoffs, which they didn't. But I'm going back to this year. I think they're just more complete this year.
Well, when we cash some of these plus 300, plus 800 other futures, this minus 155 will feel like nothing. So it's going to be fine. All right, let's move on to some player props for the season. I see people talking about opening day player props. We're going to get all into opening day throughout the week. So we certainly will have picks on that. We're just going to hit the futures for right now. Let's talk about some home run props here. This is where it gets fun. We'll start with two. You got two home run props.
Yeah, I'm going with Byron Buxton over 23.5. Like I said, we love him, but he's never healthy. I think we have him with close to 40 home runs, but that's assuming he's fully healthy. He did this 2 years ago in like less than 100 games. And as long as he doesn't crash into the wall, and I'm just hoping he plays more DH, even though he's really fast out there in center field when he is healthy, but he's never healthy. So if he plays a lot of DH, he should be able to stay healthy and hit this number easily if he's playing.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to another home run prop here. We're looking at most home runs in the regular season. This is right?
No. This is O'Neal Cruz more home runs than Ellie De La Cruz. Yeah, minus 175 would not be good value for O'Neal Cruz. Yeah,
but so, go ahead.
They have it's funny. DK has O'Neal Cruz versus Brian De La Cruz, Ellie De La Cruz versus Brian De La Cruz. Like they're trying to be a little creative there, but O'Neal Cruz versus Ellie De La Cruz is what we're going with. Yes. O'Neal Cruz at minus 175. And we have him with around 10 more home runs this season than Ellie De La Cruz. Ellie De La Cruz, when he hits home runs, he hits monster home runs, and so does O'Neal Cruz. But O'Neal Cruz has hit like 7 in spring training so far. How
much can you look into spring training?
Not too much. But for prospects, you can just it gets them some confidence. I guess I'd look more into the batted ball metrics than the actual results.
Mm-hmm.
So guys who are like hitting the ball hard but not getting good results, like they're good buy low candidates because people just looking at numbers.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to a similar play here. Another, I guess, head-to-head here.
Yeah, Manny Machado, more home runs than Max Muncy. If you watched Max Muncy versus Manny Machado this past week, you would see that Manny Machado already has a 1 home run lead over Max Muncy. And Max Muncy looked really rough in the field. And I think that could cost him some playing time for sure, especially with this loaded Dodgers lineup and their loaded prospect system, that if he struggles in the field, he struggles to hit like he did last year with his high strikeout rate, that he could not, he shouldn't be playing as much. So give me Manny Machado more home runs at -140.
Okay. Just so wild how long these seasons are and trying to like put injury and just all the different phases of the season into this, which is why these strikeout props are wild to me. All right, let's start here with Pablo Lopez under 205.5 strikeouts.
Yeah, Pablo Lopez was great last season. I think he finished with around 240. But then again, this is assuming he's fully healthy. It's going to be hard for assuming he's fully healthy, we have like 190 strikeouts. So if he misses a couple strikeouts with like a arm strain or something, it's going to be pretty tough for him to hit over 205.5. I know Fangraphs Zips projection has him at like 190 as well. And I really like that we have him right there with some other projections as well. So I like this.
We'll move on to an over strikeout prop here. Looking at the two of these numbers, like what's the highs and lows of these strikeout props? Like awesome pitcher versus not so awesome pitcher. Like what is the range?
Well, the top is Spencer Strider at 245.5 strikeouts. We have him projected for 247, so we actually do like him to go over that. We wouldn't recommend you go under that. He's been striking everyone in spring training. But I mean, I think the lowest they'll have is like 120 for a player who pitches a ton but doesn't get a ton of strikeouts. So that's probably where the range, probably 120 to 250 is probably the range for these strikeout props. But Tarek Skubal, 166.5 strikeouts. I mean, I don't mind him to win the Cy Young as a long shot pick. And the problem is he has a big injury. He's a big injury risk as well, but all of these guys are injury risks. He's been nasty in spring training. He had a mechanical change, just minor mechanical change, and he's just been striking out everyone. He's been awesome this spring. He's looked great, and this is why I kind of like the Tigers as a long shot pick to win the AL Central, because Skubal and some of these other guys have looked really good. Like Parker Meadows looked really good.
People have been talking about Skubal. I don't know who he was until right now, but he is getting some love in the chat here and has been.
I think we have him going for like 185 strikeouts, so we have like 20 strikeout lane here. It's just a matter of health for all these guys. That's why it's scary to go with season-long props, but he's been looking really good, and he's already had, I think, 2 Tommy John surgeries in his past, so hopefully he could stay healthy.
That's scary. All right, well, let's stay with the pitchers here. We're going to go to pitcher wins here. We got a few overs. We'll start with Bobby Miller.
Yeah, Bobby Miller over 10.5 wins is just a Dodgers pitcher is going to have every opportunity to get a win every time they step on the mound. I think we have him for 15 wins, going like 15-5, just because we love the Dodgers. Their win totals at 105, and he's starting in their rotation, so he should have plenty of opportunities to get wins. So we have 4.5 win lean here.
Steven's getting our poll started in the chat of which one of us is going to be consuming 1 beer and 1 hot dog for every inning come Thursday on opening day. Seems I have 1 vote so far. I don't know what that speaks to me, but we'll just let the chat figure this one out. All right, let's move on here. We'll go to another pitcher win here. Carlos, was it Rodon?
Carlos Rodon, Yankee pitcher. Even though we don't like the Yankees, we expect a bounce back from Rodon. I think we have him winning 13 games. And last season was a lost year for Rodon. He was hurt in spring training. He missed most of the season. But 2 years ago, he had 14 wins. The year before that, he had 13 wins on teams that just aren't as good as this Yankees team. So I like Rodon to bounce back here, especially since he's getting paid like $30 million a year to bounce back.
Yeah, that'll play. That should really get the arm swinging here. All right, let's go. One more play, Jake. You're doing great. Great pace here. We got one more over. Here we go.
Glasnow over 10.5 wins. I'm a big Glasnow fan. Again, this is another Dodgers pitcher that we have value on because they're going to win so many games. He went 5 innings against the Padres. He's not going to go deep into games, which is why his win total isn't that as high as you'd expect. You'd expect for a pitcher of his caliber to have like a 13.5, 14.5 win total. But he's only going to go 5-6 innings just because he has a long injury history. But if he goes 5 innings, that'll put him in line for a win pretty much most games he plays because Dodgers are so good.
Mm-hmm. All right. That was a lot here. I'm going to throw up this recap screen and just remind everything. One thing about this team is we know our futures and we do pretty damn well with our futures. May I remind you that we gave you your Heisman winner, your MVP winner. I won the Sportsline Model Analyst Futures competition with a lot of futures picks in the NFL from this very show and the model. So we got our futures figured out. So this is something you're going to want to screenshot because it pays to get them early and get the value with this team. So here are all the futures for today. Again, we will have some opening day picks, I'm sure, come Thursday, right, Jake?
Yeah, we'll have some opening day picks for tomorrow. We'll have them tomorrow for Thursday, and we'll have some player props for the first couple of games.
Yeah.
Maybe some live data too.
Yes. And with that said, speaking of futures, NFL win totals did come out. We have 2 that we like right now we think might be act now plays. So we'll give those out later this week too as well. Late Thursday NBA slate. So there'll be plenty to go over. Of course, we're still thinking about college basketball as well, but we're all about that early value with the future. So with that said, different episode today. Everyone, 2 claps for Jake for getting through that because I contributed nothing. Just happy to be here along for the ride. All right. Good luck with everybody's bets tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to strap back in for college basketball. Oh my gosh. We have
I was about to say I have college baseball.
Oh, sorry, Jake. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Real quick. Let's rip some money we can make tonight. 2-leg money line parlay plus money.
Exactly. 2-leg money line parlay plus money. San Diego at home versus Cal State Fullerton. San Diego is much better at home, and Sam Houston is much better at home as well. So 2 teams with slight value in the model, but they're both home, and we like it as a money line parlay.
Dang. We'll take 1 money line plus money alone here. We'll go with Illinois. This Illinois plus 115 money line looks like our college basketball play for Thursday. I think we have
exactly. It's pretty much identical to our. I have to do Illinois plus 115 money line and college baseball and college basketball parlay
that
together.
Sounds like a parlay.
Yeah, that does sound like a parlay. They're playing Missouri, and this is a neutral site field, and Missouri is pretty bad away from home all season. And I think it's pretty much a 50-50 game. That's what the model has. So getting them at plus money is worth the risk.
Mm-hmm. All right. One more actually final play here from Jake today. We're going St. Mary's Air Force over 12 runs.
Yeah, we have this as 13 in the model. So not a ton of value, but still some value. It's just midweek pitching. You don't know what's going to happen. And both of these teams could really hit in the past. So I think even though their offenses have both been struggling a bit lately, I think they're due for a bounce back. And I think these are just going to be bullpen games for both teams. And I can see a lot of runs being scored here.
All right. Fair enough. I saw Steven was asking about the NBA plays really quick. I'll read those off as well that we had today. I didn't put them in the recap. We got Steph Curry over 4.5 assists at plus 115, was plus 130 earlier today. Austin Reeves under 5.5 assists. I'm also on Austin Reeves over 17.5 points. Josh Giddey over 14.5 points and assists here. Also like Josh Giddey over 9.5 points or rebounds and assists, also like Lou Dort over 8.5 points. And then Keon Ellis, who we just have figured out who he is and love him, over half a block here. So plenty of NBA as well. All right, that actually is the end of the show. We got a lot of content here, okay? We're jack of all trades. With that, good luck with your bets tonight. We will see you guys same time tomorrow.